I'm Jim McClure, and in Dahlonega, Cleveland, Cornelia, Toccoa, and now in Oakwood.
We're just cooking in the kitchen. Cooking in the kitchen.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Time starts now. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat? Where can you find the answers to these questions?
Car crashes are one of the leading killers of U.S. children. Many of those deaths could be prevented by making sure that kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's time for Ask Tracy, with a man who's handy with advice and a slide rule, Tracy Tessmer.
Let's get to the phones right away. Hello, line one. What's your issue?
Tracy, I'm torn about how to spend my evenings in. I enjoy a nice fire in the fireplace and hot soaks in the tub. What should I do?
Oh, that's easy. Put a fireplace in your bathroom. And with today's technology, there's nothing simpler. Give me a call tomorrow and we'll get you squared away.
Now, how can I convince my husband to share the TV remote?
Tracy Tessmer Design Remodeling, online at tracytessmerremodeling.com.
This is North Georgia's News Talk.
WDUN. 35 minutes after 7 o'clock. Happy to have you here with us. 30 minutes to go in this Thursday edition of Game On. Final edition of the week. We're preempted tomorrow for our high school basketball games of the week. Athens Christian at Lakeview Academy. Joel Williams and I will be on the call for both the girls and boys games. Coverage begins at 5:50. Tip-off at 6 on the girls game. 7:30 on the boys. Hope you'll join us on AM 550, FM 102.9, WDUN. During the break, up on the monitor, I'm all about watching TV. I've got a very short attention span this evening. Very short attention span. TMZ is on the middle monitor, and they're showing the whole Justin Bieber fiasco. I would just like to go on record saying that he is an idiot. And that is the end of that. You know who's not an idiot? The Orlando Ledbetter. Falcons beat writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and luckily a friend to us here at Game On. He's down in Mobile, Alabama, covering the North squad for the Senior Bowl, and we wanted him to weigh in on what the Falcons coaches are seeing. But first up, D-Led, thanks so much for being here with us this evening. What do you think about Justin Bieber?
He actually was dating one of my daughter's friends at Whitfield Academy when he was, before he got really big, Caitlin Beatles. So we kind of watched this disaster up close. It's just Aaron Carter all over again for me.
Well said, D-Led. That is a perfect analogy right there. In Mobile, Alabama, joining us from Lower Alabama. We appreciate you doing so. Covering the Senior Bowl, more importantly, the North squad. I'm sure you've seen some of the South squad as well this week, though. What are the Falcons coaches saying that's impressing them? who are some players that are impressing them over this week of practice?
Well, I got some of those guys from the coaches today. Dion, I'm getting some of the names. Dion Buchanan is a safety from Washington State. There's another safety from Baylor. The wide receiver Huff from Oregon has also been impressive. Kenny Ladler, of course, Vanderbilt safety, all SEC from Stevenson High in Atlanta. He's been impressive from the South squad. And James White, the running back from Wisconsin, he's going to have a big day for the North team on Saturday. Those are some of the guys the coaches told me that they were impressed with. Also, new defensive line coach Brian Cox really likes the big kid from Minnesota, Rashid Hageman. He's just strong and real big at 6'6", 311 pounds. So those are some of the guys to keep an eye on.
Speaking of Brian Cox, according to several reports, people that are down in Mobile covering the Senior Bowl, he and Mike Tice have had they've been impressive in really their first venture as Falcons coaches. What's your take on that?
Well, I kind of was watching them the first couple of days. Tice is, coaching in a little bit different manner than Cox. He's calling guys over individually, giving them their assignments, and correcting their mistakes, whereas Cox has been a lot louder and coaching the group while he's making sure he's fixing the things from individuals. One thing that's a little different that he's doing, Katie, is, when the guys make a mistake, he's making them do up-downs like they're in Pee-wee ball. So some of the NFL people kind of are shaking their heads at that. That's probably not going to be real popular with the Falcons if they, if that's one of his teaching methods.
That's pretty good to hear. My father was a football coach. I remember up-downs very well being at practice, and I've never met a player who likes having to do them. We're talking with D. Orlando Ledbetter, Falcons beat writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He's in Mobile, covering the Senior Bowl, covering the Atlanta Falcons coaching the North Squad, and with us here tonight on Game On. When you think about the route that the Falcons are going to go in the NFL draft, and you've said yourself, offensive line, defensive line, probably going to be top priorities. Who's impressing in those two realms? What are the coaches saying about offensive guys, defensive guys in the trenches?
Well, some of the trench guys that are performing very well are Darrell Richardson, a guard from Baylor. They might not have a shot at him. The Lidner kid from Notre Dame has also been fair. That's Zach Martin. I'm sorry. Zach Martin has been impressive for them. He's going to play a lot of left tackle for the North team. Those two guys on the offensive side of the ball have been impressive. Kind of under the radar guy for a lot of the scouts and people. It's been the Brandon Thomas kid from Clemson.
D-Led, you there? I think he might have dropped out, Brian. Let's try to get him back on the line. No big deal. He is in Mobile, Alabama. I believe it's windy. When Brian first got him on the phone, there was quite a bit of wind in the background. 20 minutes until 8 o'clock as we continue with Game On. We're going to try to get D-Led, beat writer for the Atlanta Falcons, for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, back on the line with us. Want to ask him about Dirk Cutter. Reports are he's going to be interviewing for the Browns head coaching position. I wonder how the chemistry is working with the Atlanta Falcons coaches with that news sort of hanging over their heads. Also going to ask him about Scott Pioli, how he's fitting in and what he thinks he brings to the table as soon as we get him back on the line. I got a tweet in regarding a segment previously when I used the word bias. Apparently I did not use it correctly. I appreciate this is the land of accountability. You all know this. I love it when you tweet me. I love it when you text me. I love it when you email me and tell me when I've done things wrong. It's biased. Bias is a noun, I was told. How many times do we have to tell you these things? Apparently a lot, because I don't get them correct. All right, D-Led back on the line with us. Sorry we dropped you there. D-Led, we appreciate you answering the phone as we continue with Game On. Moving on here, from more of a personnel standpoint, Dirk Cutter, reports are the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, interviewing for a head coaching position. What's the chemistry been like with the coaches in light of those reports?
Dirk, that's just this part of the off season. If the team calls, you're going to, listen. We talked to him after practice today, and, there's some reports that Cleveland's zeroing in on Mike Pettin, and he hadn't heard the latest. After practice today, he was assuming that he was out of the running. So that's the latest we have on Coach Cutter's situation. And Chris Shelfo's out of the UAB deal. I think they named their coach already. So, this normally would be an off week for the coaches, so it's not a real distraction for them. They're kind of, on a paid vacation down here coaching the North Squad.
Scott Pioli hired as assistant general manager, sort of accountability partner and sounding board for Thomas Dimitroff. What does he bring to the table? Why hire this guy as sort of Dimitroff's understudy, if you will?
Well, he's put together some championship-level teams. He's been one of the top executives in the league. Was not successful in Kansas City, but, still put together a pretty decent shell of a team that John Dorsey was able to come in and add a quarterback and the right coach to. So he's got a long, storied history of selecting good players. So he should be an asset if he's able to, fit into the Falcons culture. he kind of had a lot of more New England with him when he went to Kansas City. And, folks will want to Google the Kansas City Star story by Ken Babb, B-A-B-B, and see some of the zaniness they had going out there under Pioli. That won't be tolerated in the Falcons building, but Dimitroff has probably assured folks that, this is a rehab assignment in that regard for Pioli. But, they're going to try to take his good football knowledge and utilize it and maybe help get the Falcons over the top here.
All right, D-Led, final thing. I want to make sure that you have a good time in Mobile the rest of this week, even though you are down there doing a job, and a whale of a job you are doing, sir, I might add. I'm familiar with that area. Have you been to Heroes Sports Bar downtown?
No, we've been doing bits across the street, but I need to venture out to some other place. You do. You need to go to Heroes Sports Bar. It's in downtown Mobile. And you don't have to tell them I sent you. They don't know me that well. But it's a great place to have some food. It's a great place to have some fun, and take your fellow journalists along with you. They'll enjoy it. Okay, I'm on my way to Heroes.
All right, that sounds good. D-Led, we appreciate you so much joining the show. Enjoy the rest of your time in Mobile. Best of luck to the North squad, and we hope to catch up with you again soon.
All right, great. Thanks, Katie, for having me.
Absolutely. How funny, the little Justin Bieber moment. Who knew? D-Led bringing the knowledge that he met the kid, the friend of a friend of a friend, before Bieber got big. Bieber's so big now, he's fitting to go to jail for 6 months. Ooh! Who takes a yellow Lamborghini that is a rental car and drag races it?
I mean, because those are such inconspicuous cars, I don't know how the cops ever notice him going down the highway at 80 miles per hour.
And then cheesing the way he was in a mugshot. You are all of how old? And you were smoking marijuana, drinking, and you're not, we know you're not 21. I don't know how old you are, but I know it's not 21. Smoking marijuana, drinking, prescription meds, and you're drag racing.
Graffitiing at various tour stops across the world, actually, just doing graffiti, spray painting different buildings. He's been caught down in Brazil doing that as well.
All the money in the world, access to anything in the world. How do you get so bored that you make a fool of yourself?
And somehow egged his neighbor's house a week or two ago.
Of course he did.
Cost $20,000 for the damage by egging a house. That is unconscionable to me.
Well, listen. Young teenagers like to roll yards and get into shenanigans of such. I don't know firsthand, but I might have heard stories in high school. I don't know firsthand, but maybe I heard stories of such shenanigans. But seriously, I don't know. What are you going to kids these days? 7:47, folks. We're going to wrap on this. We're going to wrap up this Thursday. We might actually wrap on. If I can think of a good rhyme during the break, we'll wrap on Game On. We're going to wrap up this Thursday edition of Game On when we return, talking a little Richard Sherman and what he had said to Michael Crabtree to get punched in the face, or face mask, I should say. Make sure you come back and join us, folks, on WDUN.